Are you looking to get a six-pack fast? Well, I'm going to show you today how you can without having to rely on any shortcuts or revelations by Chinese scientists. Guys, we're going to put real muscle science to work today. What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. As I said, today it's all about how to get a six-pack fast. And we're not going to rely on, like I said, those shortcuts or ancient Chinese secrets and Chinese scientists that are in a lab discovering secret ways to add muscle and all that. No, but what we're going to do is we're going to show you with real muscle science how you can start doing this by applying it to your workouts. And I think when we address the abs, it's imperative that we start off by understanding that there's a lot of different roles of the abs. And unless you are training all the roles of the abs in your workouts or across your workouts, you're really not going to be getting the results that you want. So I put down a list here of the different roles of the abs or the different functions that in the ways that you can attack them. And we start here at the top, and really we're at the bottom because it's bottom up. When we're doing abdominal training, you want to make sure that you're using the act of flexing the spine, but doing it from the bottom up. So what I mean by that is some sort of exercise, and we're going to go through a bunch of these as I'm talking here, where you are in a fixed position at the top and the bottom is doing most of the work. So you're basically curling the spine, flexing the spine from the bottom up. This engages more of the lower abdominals, gets them firing and proactively working, and then it leads us into the other areas and the other directions that we can train the abs, which is both up now. Well, both up means that we're going to get some sort of exercise where we can actually bring the bottom and the top up at the same time. Again, I'll start showing some of the exercises as I'm talking here to give you an example of what we mean. Next, top down. You want to make sure that when you're training your abs, you're working again, not just from the flexion of the spine from the bottom portion up, but you can also flex the spine from the top down. Remember, all motion is relative in science. You have something that is fixed and something that is moving, and in this case, we want to have both ends come and meet together. Another important aspect of the function of the abs. Next, we have the obliques. If you want a true ab program, if you really want to start framing out your six-pack, then you want to work the obliques as well. Okay? The obliques can be attacked in a lot of different ways. Here I'm showing you another way that you can do that. Again, using a resistance band, but the possibilities are endless. Next, bottom-up rotation. This is a hugely important function of the abs, and that's rotation. I think it's one of the most overlooked aspects of training the abs, is that we all think that it just flexes, it just does crunches, and that's so far from being the truth. But how do we do it? We have to incorporate rotation, and we have to break it down where we're looking at bottom-up rotation, as I'm demonstrating now. And then as we move into the next sequence here, top-down rotation. Again, with top-down rotation and bottom-up rotation, the only difference is what is relatively moving. What part is fixed and what part is moving. And when you see the difference as you do the exercises, you'll feel the difference and start to see it in the mirror, because you're actually working the abs in two completely different ways, but they both complement each other and are both equally important. Finally, we move on to the last two parts and components of a six-pack ab workout, and that's resisting rotation. Again, one of the biggest things that abs do is they help us to resist rotation. As I do this variation of the plank, you can see that my abs are working really hard to help me not rotate. And again, it's sort of counterintuitive because we always think that everything is based on motion. It's not. A lot of times the abs' main function is to prevent motion, and unless you're working that into your routine, you're missing a large component, again, of their function. Finally, stabilizing all other movements. So we're talking about every movement in your workouts should involve the abs in some way. And that's a hugely important key of ATHLEAN-X, as I talk about core at the core of every exercise. If you're working out properly, you're going to engage your abs in every single thing you do. And it's going to be when you're doing lower body movements, as I'm showing you here. As I'm moving my lower body or doing some variation with my lower body, the abs are engaged in working. or it can be with our upper body movements. And as I show you here in this exercise, we're training the chest, no doubt. But as soon as I grab the handle, so as I grab the handle right now, you can see as soon as I grab the handle, my abs start to engage. That's because it's setting the stage to stabilize the whole rest of that movement. And then they're actively involved as well as I start to rotate. So you get a lot of crossover between the functionality of the abs here too. But the key point here, guys, is that in order to have an effective ab training program, or to start seeing your six-pack abs faster, again, without relying on anything that's sort of, hokey or based on not fact, you need to start relying on what is true muscle science, and this is how the abs function. Okay, as a physical therapist, there's a lot of different ways that we have to attack the abs, and this is our attack plan. One more thing I think we need to address, because it always has to be said. The only way to get a six-pack is to combine this with the proper nutrition program. If you're not going to start watching what you eat in the kitchen, guys, you might have the best developed abs, but they're going to be hiding under a whole heck of a lot of fat. And now is the time for the new year to start trying to uncover that, guys. You want to start to look at how you can change your body. I want to point you to ATHLEAN-X, because if you're not already on the ATHLEAN-X team, if you're not already working out like an athlete, if you're not already incorporating attack plans for your abs, if you're not already watching what you're eating and eating things that you actually enjoy but still being able to lose fat, then it's time that you head over to ATHLEAN-X.com and get on Team Athlean today. Guys, I am glad I can bring you this video. I hope you can apply it to your ab training and start to see some of the ideas. But if you want a complete 90-day program where I give you all these workouts step by step and many more exercises that were demonstrated here today, then come on over and grab your ATHLEAN-X training system. We'll be back here again next week. More ab workouts. If you like this one and find it helpful, please comment below and let me know what you think. In the meantime, I'll see you guys back here in 7 days.